All right, third graders, yesterday we talked about ballpark estimates. Remember, a ballpark estimate is changing a number to add it up in mental math. The estimate lets us stop and think about if our answer that we get when we really add up the number makes sense. So, what would our ballpark estimate be for 53 plus 32? Well, let's see. 53 is closer to 50, and 32 is closer to 30. So if we were to add 50 plus 30, 50, 60, 70, 80, our ballpark estimate would be 80. So remember yesterday we did our ballpark estimates on the top. Today we're going to do something that's called partial sums. So I'm going to show you with some base 10 blocks, then we'll come back and do this page. All right, if we look at the base 10 blocks, know that this right here is 100. This is 10 and this is 1. So if I were going to put this box and add them together with this box, I want to see how many are together. So let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 ones over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones over here. When we put those together, 5 plus 6, we get 11. Okay, now let's add up the tens. Because there's 10, I'm going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. There's 60 here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 here. So let's put them together. I know there's 60 here. Count by tens. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. Okay, now I've added up the tens and I've added up the ones, and now I put those together because now I get 121 with all these together. We call it partial because we add up parts of the numbers. We add up the ones, and then we add up the tens, and we put our two parts together. Now, if your parents are watching this with you, they're going to say, I did not learn math that way. And they didn't. And that's okay. This is another way to do math, and it really, really helps you as you get older to do mental math. So think about the numbers here. Let's add up the ones first. We have 3 on this side, 3 on this side. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Now let's add up our tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. I think we had 110 last time. We put those together and we get 110 plus 6, which gives us 116. We figured out the two parts. Now, sometimes you might have more parts. Look at this. We have hundreds, tens, and ones this time. So let's add up the ones. We get 1, 2. There's our ones part. Now let's add up our tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm running out of room. I'm going to have to write the 90 underneath here. There's 90. Now let's add up the hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. Okay, now I'm going to put all those parts together. That's the word partial. Sum means add. When I put all these parts together, I get 2, 9, 8. 892. Okay, that is why we call this partial sums. Partial meaning parts, sums meaning adding. All right, now here we just don't have the base 10 blocks, but it's the same thing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add up the ones, then we'll add up the tens. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9. We get 9 ones. Now you have to remember that this is a 40 and this is a 20 because they are in the 10 spot. Sometimes I'll tell kids just put a little 0 up here to remind you and count by tens. 40, 50, 60. Now you have your two parts. 60 plus 9 gives you your answer of 69. Let's continue going. All right. Now look at 61 and 70 are pretty close together, so I know my answer makes sense, and that's based on my ballpark estimate. Okay, let's go to this one. Add up the ones. 0 plus 7 gives us 7. That highlighter does not like writing. He wants to take a break. Right now we're going to add up the tens. Remember, this is 90 and this is 30. So I count by tens. 90, 100, 110, 120. And then we put those together to get 127. Now we're doing this page together, but I am going to have another activity for you to do so that I know you know how to do partial sums. If you know how to add a different way, that's great. The most important thing about adding is that you're getting the right answer, all right? Now look we have three parts. We have the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. So we count by the ones, we get 9. Okay, now we're going to count by tens. 70 plus nothing just gives us 70. Now we have 300 plus 400. So I'm going to count up from the bigger number. 400, 500, 600, 700. I have all my parts now that I can put together. 779. Same thing here. Look what's going to happen here. 9, 10, 11. 70 plus nothing gives me 70. 100 plus 100 gives me 200. And then I put my two parts together. These make an 80 or an 8, and this makes 281. Okay, let's go to this one. 7, 8, 9, 10, 80, 90. Oh, look what happens. 90 plus 10 gives me 100. 100 plus 100 more gives me 200. So I'm just going to write the 100 down here. But that's how I know. Look at that mental math that came into play. 90 plus 10 gave me 100. 100 plus 100, my answer should be 200. Third graders, partial sums was something you learned in second grade. Hopefully it's not new for you. Remember, the most important thing is that you know how to add and get the correct answer.